You. Of course, you. Do you also like adventures? When and where's your last adventure so far? How was it? Was it fun? Just like you, I also know a character in a book that entails a great adventure and will also show how life was meant for adventures, experiences, and good friends. Do you want to meet him?
Do you want to meet someone mischievous and often get himself and his friends in and out in the trouble? Someone who is probably best remembered for the incident in which he gets a number of other boys to whitewash his auntie's fence. If yes, continue watching this video and get ready to explore the story written by Mark Twain in which entitled The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Ayaw ka, kaibigang Tom Sawyer, maglakbay kung saan mo man naisip. Sige, Tom, humayo ka't maglakbay bawal lang kalilimutan kami. Sige, Tom, humayo ka't maglakbay bawal lang kalilimutan kami.
It was Mark Twain who once said, "Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect." Mark Twain, whose real name was Samuel Clemens, was born on November 30, 1835 in Florida, Missouri, the sixth of 7 children. He was the celebrated author of several novels including 2 major classics of American literature, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer published in 1876 and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn in 1884. He was also a riverboat pilot, journalist, lecturer, entrepreneur, and inventor. He wrote 28 books and numerous short stories, letters, and sketches. Mark Twain passed away on April 21, 1910, but has also still following up to this day. To witness how great writer is Mark Twain, come and join me. Let's dig deeper on one of his most famous books, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Here are the characters of this story. First, we have Tom Sawyer. He likes playing pranks and going on adventures, but his heart is good and has the courage to do the right thing. Next is Aunt Polly. She is Tom's aunt and she always wants to Tom act like a good boy. Next is Becky. She is a pretty girl. Tom and Becky fall in love with each other at first sight. Next is Sid. He is Tom's younger brother. He is well behaved, but he likes Tom to get in trouble. Huckleberry. He is the son of a town drunk. Most of people in the town stay away from him, but most boys envy his freedom because he does whatever he wants. He's one of Tom's closest friends. Next is Indian Joe, the major villain of the story and the murderer, thief, and the very cruel man. Muff Potter, the town drunk and the friend of Indian Joe and the people who blames for a murder. Last but not the least is Joe, Tom's another friend. The imaginative and mischievous boy named Tom Sawyer lives with his Aunt Polly and his half-brother Sid. He spends his days skipping school, charming adults, and wandering along the Mississippi River with his best best friends Huckleberry Finn and Becky Thatcher.
One day, Tom accompanies Huckleberry to the graveyard at night to try out some cure for warts. At the graveyard, they witness the murder of young Dr. Robinson by the Native American half-breed Indian Joe. Scared, Tom and Huck ran away and swear a blood oath not to tell anyone what they have seen. Indian Joe blames his companion, Muff Potter, for the crime. Potter is wrongfully arrested and Tom's anxiety and guilt begin to grow. When Tom and Huck take an oath of silence after witnessing a murder, their innocent adventures became matters of life and death.
Tom, Huck, and Joe ran away to an island to become pirates. While frolicking around and enjoying their newfound freedom, the boys became aware that the community is sounding the river for their bodies. Tom sneaks back home one night to observe the commotion. After a brief moment of remorse at the suffering of his loved ones, Tom is struck by the idea of appearing at his funeral and surprising everyone. He persuades Joe and Huck to do the same. Their return is met with great rejoicing, and they became the envy and admiration of all their friends.
Tom continues his flirtation with Becky, with limited success over summer vacation. Eventually, overcome with guilt, he testifies at the trial of Muff Potter, exonerating him with Robinson's murder. Potter is released, but Indian Joe escapes through a window in the courtroom.
The court case is in Tom's last encounter with Indian Joe. However, in the final part of the novel, he and Becky, newly reunited, get lost in one of the caves. Here, Tom stumbles across his archenemy, escaping his clutches and finding his way out. Tom manages to alert the townspeople, who lock up the cave while leaving Indian Joe inside.
Our hero ends up happy. However, as he and Huckleberry discover a box of gold that once belonged to Indian Joe, the money is invested for them. Tom finds happiness, and much to his distress, Huckleberry finds respectability by being adopted.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer entail a satire, frontier literature, folk narrative, and comedy genre. As this book incorporates Tom's adventures from one scenario to another, it resembles a novel of picaresque genre, concerned with Tom's personal growth and quest for identity. It resembles a Bildungsroman, a novel that follows the development of a hero from childhood through adolescence and into adulthood.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, published in the year 1876, falls under the Victorians of Golden Age, wherein the rise of realistic stories and modern fantasies arises. The novel appeared in England in June 1876 and 6 months later in the United States. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer's plot and characters are so believable and realistic that the reader cannot help but worry for the easy-go-lucky boy Tom, even though he rarely worries for himself. As literatures from this year are mostly classic and adventure, Tom Sawyer is both a wonderful children's book and a book perfect for adults who are still children at heart. Never dull, always funny, and sometimes poignant, it is a classic novel from a truly great writer.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer not just deal with a boy growing up along the Mississippi River, but this also reveals significant themes relevant and applicable on real-life situations. As Tom, Joe, and Huck builds a relationship with one another that enables them to create own adventurous world, this story opens the essence of friendship. A friendship that sets trust as their foundation to pass all the problems and chaos arises and just have fun and adventure wherever they go. Also, Tom Sawyer wanted its readers to convey and learn the importance of telling the truth, bravery, and fitting onto the society which we belong. As Tom's imagination had made him to escape into the world of adult and the mischievous nature he is in, Tom stands for what is right, and half-Muff Potter escaped the false prosecution and chooses to be with his own conscience. This book acknowledges moral and social maturation, how society hypocrisy goes, superstitions in uncertain world, and the freedom to express in social exclusion.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is a must-read book, for in each adventure, new and valuable life lessons were being given. This book may look classic and old, but this has been testing the time. Tom is known as a mischievous, sweet-talking, imaginative, and adventurous boy who is always eager to go exploring. But behind all those, he pushes the boundaries more than any other character. The moral lessons learned in this story are a guideline to children to listen to your elders, follow the rules, and also gives life lesson of being a loyal friend. Speaking and standing up for what is truth were also being emphasized in this story. The guilt and the anxiety that Tom Sawyer felt after witnessing a crime haunts him, which made him to follow the conscience he has and do what is right and just.
Alright, that's it for today's adventure. We hope that you all learned something. Just like Tom Sawyer, may we always remember that right is right and wrong is wrong. And a body ain't got no business doing wrong when he ain't ignorant and knows better.
Let's go for more. The world is yours to explore. So, where to next?
Ayaw ka, kaibigang Tom Sawyer, maglakbay kung saan